What is going on, people? Welcome aboard the lifeboat. Just getting my coffee going, getting my desktop set up here. The lighting looks very strange today, does it not? What is going on? Everything looks weird and different today. But that's great because it goes right in line with what we're going to talk about today. Novel concepts, brand new things. When things are new, it's good, and I'll tell you why. What's going on? Kristen Melinda, Rona Cooley, Mittens 1970. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome aboard. Alana Kavanaugh, welcome in. First timer. I'm glad you made it for the morning boat. This is a ritual for us. Jason P, always a pleasure. Cindy G, Kirsten, hello, hello. Kathy Ann, Annika, Matrix Rabbit. Hey guys. Hey guys, Kellyanne, James Collins. Good to see you guys. Glad you're here. Good morning to all. Happy Saturday. This is not my first cup of coffee, but it's still so fresh that it's really, really hot. Sub Rosa, hello, hello. Well, thank you for your support, Sub Rosa. I appreciate that. I think I have to do that over here, don't I? Boo, 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 boo. We are a little bit more chill in the morning than the rest of our shows. We do get excited, but we like to work up to it, if you know what I mean. Today, we're going to talk about brand new concepts. We're going to talk about novel things. And we talk about this a lot, but today the episode is dedicated to it because I think it's very important. So we are going to get in here, get down to the nitty gritty, and I'm really excited. Made you grin like a pumpkin. I love that, Alana. I missed out on pumpkin carving this year. Next year, I'm going to go all out. I'm pretty stoked about it. But, I got to wait 12 months, but it's okay. We'll make it. Kellyanne, hello, hello. Robin Miners, so glad to see you feeling better. How did you get rid of the migraine? Well, I stopped looking at the computer screen for most of the day. I did a little bit of resting, but mostly it was resting the eyes. I think it had a lot to do with how much I stare at the screen and don't go outside. So we handled that. I'm definitely good to go today. It feels so friggin' dark in here. Is the sun just in a different place in the sky this morning? Doesn't it feel weird? Maybe it's just me. Anyways, let's get into it. So, the reward system of your brain. What we're talking about is serotonin, dopamine, your endorphins, right? The whole purpose of this system, this biochemical machine, the purpose of the reward system of your endorphins is to reinforce positive behavior and let you know when something's bad and you shouldn't be doing that, right? So I don't know how to say that, but like not reinforce negative behavior, but tell you not to do things that you shouldn't do, right? So for example, I touch a hot stove, my body responds. That is part of your reward system. Endorphins are being released through pain, right? Pain is the trigger, but the purpose is that you remember this moment, right? So that next time you don't have to burn yourself. On the opposite end of that, I do something awesome, right? Reinforcing positive behaviors. And your brain doesn't necessarily know the difference between positive and negative, right? But the way it tells the difference is through those chemicals, right? So when you do something, well, I shouldn't say that. We don't need to get into the science too much because I'm going to get confused, right? But the point is on the positive end, you do something awesome, those chemicals get released and you remember it, right? You remember how awesome it was, how much it felt. I think that the reward system is just a bookmark, so to speak, right? You get flooded with emotions, endorphins, whatever they are, right? And you remember that because of how it felt. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you'll remember that after you remember the moment, right? So I think the endorphins are just like a biochemical bookmark. Let's say that, right? So that being said, just got out of the shower, my hair's still wet. That being said, when we do drugs, when we go out and party, when we engage in our addictions, whether they're substance-based or not, this reward system of our brain is in full force active. It is working. It's working overtime, right? Because we're constantly flipping a switch, constantly, whether I'm eating food, gambling, playing video games, smoking crack, right? Whatever it is, all of these things are wildly different, but they all affect the reward system of our brain vastly the same way, right? In varying degrees, but they're all doing the same things. They're releasing endorphins so that you remember those moments. So this being said, right? So we've fried these circuits. We've done these negative behaviors over and over, right? Our reward system's kind of broken. It doesn't know the difference between positive and negative, like we covered earlier, right? And we're trying to, kick the junk, right? We're trying to stop doing whatever we were doing, whether it's food, substance, gambling, right? Maybe it's sex. I had a dream last night. We can talk about later just a little bit. We don't usually talk about stuff like that, but man, I had is it just me? We're going to take a squirrel. We'll do it right now. Is it just me, or do y'all feel friskier around this time of year? We don't usually talk about this kind of stuff, but man, I can't tell if it's because I love this time of year or and I enjoy the snow, the fall, the winter. I can't tell if it's just the reward system of my brain telling me it's time to mate, or if it's like if everybody gets that way. Um, but yeah, I had a pretty sweet dream last night, and my head is still a little foggy from it, I have to say. The change of one simple behavior can affect other behaviors and thus change many things. Quote by Gene Baker, shared by the great Kellyanne. What's going on, Dale? Good to see you. Sandra Ferguson, hello, hello. Sub Rosa says, I'm learning about neurogenesis, lion's mane mushrooms, and I am feeling a little bit sharper. Isn't neurogenesis the building of new brain cells, right? I don't know if building is the right word there, but you know what I mean, right? We're growing new cells. We're making new brain cells. Genesis being create, neuro meaning brain, right? Are my Latin roots on point here? Longer nights missing a person to share them with. That could be a very logical answer, I have to say. Maybe my right brain is in control this morning because I hadn't even considered that, but that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense, I have to say. That's not the point, though. That was just what was on my mind. So we all understand the reward system, right? This novel, well, not the novel part, but we haven't got there yet. So the reward system happens, right? These endorphins are dropped. This thing becomes engaged when a number of things happen. One of them is when we do something for the first time. Novel concepts. That's why when we're kids, everything's so awesome because everything's new. Everything's brand new. You're constantly being flooded with endorphins, whether it's good or bad. You're constantly being flooded with endorphins. And I mean, I guess it helps that when you're young, also, your reward system has suffered no damage. That's always a good thing. That's always good for longevity and effectiveness, right? When it's brand new. Haha. But yeah, so that's novel things. That is the main way that we're going to, and I haven't said this yet, retrain our reward system because that's what we need to do, right? If we're in this position, we're on this road of recovery, our reward system is most likely screwed, right? It's most likely burnt out. It's most likely malfunctioning. It doesn't know what's going on. We have to kind of put it on the drip. We have to drip feed it. We're going to have to hold its hand and be very conscious of how we're feeding it because we want it to get back to proper working order, right? We don't just want to feed it stuff and trigger it all the time. It's going to get more confused. And novel things, novel concepts, novel behavior, doing things for the first time, right? Is one of the main ways that I do this for myself. And when I say doing something for the first time, you don't have to go on a crazy road trip. You don't have to go, visit Europe. You don't have to start checking bucket list things. You just have to do something you've never done before, right? And this may involve, we talk about this a lot as well, just going outside your comfort zone. This may just involve doing something you're not comfortable doing. Now, this doesn't have to be dangerous. You don't have to put yourself out on a limb, right? But getting outside your comfort zone, doing something that's brand new, right? And that's pretty much what comfortable is. Comfortable means it's not brand new. It means I'm comfortable doing this. I've done this before, right? If we're gonna need to get out of that comfort zone to start retraining this reward system so that we can be effective humans in society. Even if I don't want to be a part of society, I don't know. I've had lots of crazy ideas in my day just to be a happy, secure individual, even if I'm just by myself, right? I'm not thinking about anything else, just me being okay. This is something that needs to happen. We need to start or paying attention and being conscious of how we're feeding this part of our brain when it's engaging, right? And what it's engaging about. When you first get sober, it's going to feel like nothing is happy, nothing is worthwhile, right? And that's proof that your reward system's busted, right? Because you were deriving your happiness and your joy, your endorphins, strictly from whatever the behavior or substance was that we were engaging with. Now that you take that away, it doesn't know what the heck's going on. Nothing feels good, right? Because we were artificially stoking that fire. So, novel things. I encourage you guys to get out of your comfort zone, right? I say this kind of stuff all the time, but it's important. I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone and experience something new. And honestly, it's even more fun to do with friends. And if you're nervous, right, about getting outside of the comfort zone, bring friends along and that'll make you feel better as well. But I can't tell you how effective this is for changing the way that life just feels, right? How things look, how things, my general state of mind, right? Sometimes I feel like I'm on edge, like I'm about to explode and I have no reason why. I don't know why, right? If I do something new, if I engage that reward system of my brain, that kind of feeling goes away. That inexplicable uncomfortability. Something new like doing 1 hot minute with Johnny. Is that a new thing that he's doing? I'm gonna have to tune in. I think it would be really cool. I don't know if he's into it, but I think it would be really cool if we could all get together like on a call and eat peppers together. Like so we could all see each other's faces and we could all kind of commiserate together. I think that would be super cool. I don't know how into that my uncle would be, but maybe I'll get it going. Who knows? I can do whatever I want. I'm a grown ass man. I do what I want, you know? Robin Miner says, yeah, I get stuck in a rut sometimes. I think we all do. I think we all do. And the way we pull ourselves out is by going and finding some joy, right? And I tell you what, you can manufacture joy. I promise. It is possible. You just have to learn a trick or two. In fact, if you're not manufacturing your own joy right inside here, you're missing out. You are missing out on life. In fact, I don't know if I would be sober if I hadn't figured out how to manufacture my own joy. The thing is, we were just talking about deriving our main source of all of this stuff, joy, endorphins, whatever it is, value from the substance or the behavior that we were engaging in, which is something that we learn over a long period of time, right? That's not how things were originally. I remember when I was a kid, I was just joyful, right? Why is that not the case now? Well, a lot of things have happened in that time, right? But the main thing is that I've damaged the reward system of my brain, right? And I also probably have less endorphins to throw around, right? It's probably drying up slowly as I get older. But that being said, I say that a lot. That should be on a shirt. Losing my place today. That being said, I forgot what I was talking about. We'll come back. Millie the Dandelion, good to see you. Is this resonating with everyone? Alana, what do you think? Let's ask our new friend. Has everyone met Alana? Sub Rosa. I'm gonna read that. Give me just a second. The book How to Change Your Mind discusses neurogenesis and how to change the way you perceive the world. I'm gonna have to get a copy of this. This is stuff that I talk about all the time. I feel like this is a book that I'm obligated to own just because of the subject matter. Jeremy Fowler, what's going on, brother? Good to see you today. Are we talking about Tubes of Terror? I'm excited but scared of it. Lol. I've heard the horror stories. We must be talking about the Tubes of Terror, those spicy nuts, those Scoville nuts. Spanx, I think that I'm going to try growing microgreens and selling them. What are microgreens? And for those of you that are new here, I usually, when I come on in the morning, I have like something that I intend to talk about, like a topic, and we will sometimes talk about it for 30 minutes. Sometimes, we'll talk about it for an hour and I won't have enough time. And sometimes we will swirl around and kind of hang out. And I mean, the purpose is to better ourselves, right? That's kind of what we want to do on this channel, but also connect, right? When we're just hanging out, that's just as important as the information that we have to discuss, right? Us connecting. Connection is the opposite of addiction. Um, Finding connection with other humans saved me, and it will save you too. I promise. Um, so yeah, just a little anecdote there. The Dalai Lama has a book called The Art of Happiness. I was looking at microgreens. I'm getting squirreled here. This coffee is making it difficult to type. Guys, I officially made the switch from iPhone to Android. And so far, it seems okay. I'm not impressed, but I'm not angry. So I think that's a step up. you know? Spanx, could you share what your favorite tattoo is? Yes, I can. I guess I should pull up the camera so I can see exactly how much I'm showing here. This one right here was my first tattoo, and it says Caius J, Kias capital J. And that is for my dead friend who took himself out. But we used to play D&D, and he had this character called Caius J. Feriviant, and he was this like 8-foot tall black man that dual wielded samurai swords. He was like the baddest character of all time. He was the Kurt Russell of D&D. And when he passed, I finally decided to put ink on my body. I put Caius J on there. Felt like it would be weird putting Tony on my heart, But also Caius J is way cooler. Rolling Stone says I'm officially still too old. Still, like you were already. That's funny. Still too old to know the difference between an iPhone and an Android. Well, there's not a huge difference. What's a good way to explain it? It's like a Kirby vacuum versus a different brand. It's just a brand. It's just a brand, except as far as cell phones go, there's much more of a monopoly than with other products. There's only a few companies that are really rolling stuff out. Like there are companies that make phones, but the companies that get this, like if your phone was like a box and then you opened it up like in the cartoons and there was like a bunch of little guys in there like making the thing work, right? There's a bunch of tiny humans like turning cranks and pulling on ropes and like switching knobs and stuff. The guys inside, that's Android or Apple, right? Or iPhone, right? The phone itself is made by Motorola. It's made by all these different companies. There's like two companies that make what goes on the inside. The people on the inside that are turning the cranks, that's iPhone and that's Android. They're the innards, except it's more of an ethereal innards. It's not a physical innard. Zaphod Beeblebrox, what's going on? The difference between the two is about $800. That's the real difference right there. 100%. That is also one of the reasons I made the switch. But I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen the back of my phone. You can see the motherboard on the bottom there, which is what all of the components are mounted to. That's what a motherboard is. But yeah, it's kind of destroyed. So now I got a new one. Anyways, I don't want to. It's not about my phone. It's about novel concepts. It's about novelty. Spouse's company is paying for our phone, says Kristen. Must be nice. Gotta love that. Hard to pass that up, I bet. I saw Alana responded to my question. I want to read that. And then we'll get back into some novelty, huh? Vita, good to see you. Hello, hello. And if you guys are wondering, sometimes people ask, but usually they don't. If you're wondering, I'm listening to some lo-fi this morning with with trap mixed in. So it's like rap lo-fi mashup. Exactly, Sub Rosa. That's the what was going on in my head was the Flintstones. The little snarky bird inside the appliances. Yeah, exactly. Always hilarious. They don't make cartoons like they used to, guys. I tell you what, Hanna-Barbera, legends. Legends. But I tell you what, I'm gonna do something novel this weekend. It's been a while since I've done something. When's when's the last time you did something for the first time? One of my favorite rap lyrics by not my favorite artist, but I'll never forget that line. When was the last time you did something for the first time? That's a big deal right there. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do for the first time, but I'm sure it'll jump out at me um, when it comes along. I wonder when the last time the last time I did something for the first time, other than the painting, that was pretty recent, right? I try to do new things a lot. I went dancing, and I do a lot of dancing, but usually by myself. I went and learned, I believe it was fusion, or yeah, I learned fusion dancing with a friend of mine on my Salt Lake trip, and that was really cool, terrifying, but that's how I knew it was really actually novel. I hadn't felt fear for like going out and doing an activity in ages. And it wasn't the most comfortable feeling, but conquering it, right? Going out and actually doing it was amazing. I had one of the best nights in recent memory doing that. And I can't recommend enough that you guys go and do something new. And it could be as simple as, maybe you're a walker. Maybe you walk a different route that you've never walked, or if you're commuting to and from work, maybe you take a new route, right? It could be as simple as that. Or it could be going to a place you've never been, right? It could be all the way on the other end of the spectrum. Maybe I am going to take a Europe vacation, right? But it doesn't have to be extravagant, right? It could be anything. We could watch a show that we've never watched. That's less novel because the act of sitting down and watching a show is something that's not new, right? But also, we talked about voice crack. We talked about a couple things that stoke this reward center of our brain, right? One of them being novel things. Another thing that we can do is just get exercise. If your body has to work a certain level, like if it has to work hard enough, it triggers the reward system in your brain. It triggers your body has to go through physiological changes in order to continue doing that, in order to do hard work over a prolonged period of time, right? So if you just get a little bit of exercise, and it doesn't have to be like my exercise isn't your exercise, right? Like what I need to do to trigger that part of my body by doing physical activity is not what you need to do, right? Everyone's unique and different, right? And you'll know that you're triggering that part of the brain because you'll start to sweat a little bit, right? You will experience physiological changes. And if you're being conscious of this, it'll be easier to tell the better you get, right? But really it can be very complicated, but it can also be boiled down very simply. We need to do new things. We need to seek out our joy, right? In sobriety, right? On the road to recovery. We didn't get sober to live a lame life, right? I didn't get sober so that the fun would stop, right? I got sober so that I could start living again, right? So that I could get back on the horse and be proud of myself, right? And be happy and be safe, right? None of those things were true when I was out there. I wasn't happy, I wasn't safe, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I wasn't proud. That's for damn sure. So, that being said, laughing hard is the best exercise, says Kellyanne. I have a fun story about laughter. When I was living in Salt Lake, I've told you guys a lot about my fire crew. I talk about the tribe a lot, my fire tribe. If you don't know, if you're new here, I am a fire dancer. I haven't done this in quite some time, but it's one of my favorite things. And if you don't know what that is, I can link you. I can link you some stuff. But talk about my fire crew a lot. And when I was first connecting with them and getting more involved, when Breath of Fire first came about, and we started becoming a closer collective and like kind of like a family. We would do a lot of workshops and work on each other's projects with each other, right? We all had our own things going on. And one of the projects that came through that we all ended up being a part of was the Laughter Sound Healing Workshop. Sounds really hippy dippy, right? It totally is. But it was amazing. The power of laughter is crazy. We underestimate what laughter does. Laughter, when you are having like a full belly laugh, it will also cause physiological changes in your body, like immediately. A good heartfelt belly laugh is going to change your whole view in an instant. And I'm not going to talk about this workshop a ton, but what you said, laughing hard is the best exercise, made me think of that. That was part of the workshop. There was not a ton to it, but it was all geared around frequencies, sound, and laughter, and how it affects you and your mind and your body, right? Did you ever fire dance to Prodigy's Firestarter? Absolutely. It's funny and ironic, but a lot of people dance to that. A lot of folks. It's a great friggin' song, dude. It's a classic, right? I would say it's a classic. Kellyanne says, we're all proud of you. Well, thank you. That makes me feel really good. You know, today I woke up and I had no imposter syndrome. Today I woke up and I felt like, you know what? This is great. This is how it's supposed to be. So maybe I'm slowly changing my perspective. Maybe all this work that I'm doing is paying off. I would friggin' hope so, because if not, that's a drag. Johnny said if he comes out to Colorado to skydive again, ooh, that's a great episode of Chase the Heat. He's going to pick me up for the ride. I am terrified, but we'll do it with Mr. Scoville. No one else. Wow, Jason P. I have considered skydiving many times in my life, and my dad talks it up a ton. And I've had the opportunity to do so. Jacob Skousen, what's going on? Good buddy. Love you, dude. Hope this message finds you well. I've been missing you, Jake. I've been missing you. That's not a song, is it? It is now. Is Tommy still poorly? Asks McKenna. No, but Tommy is doing a little better today. He's a little tired. He didn't get very good sleep last night. That's the word on the street. But he was well enough to cover for me yesterday, and he did a few shows. I think that honestly, he's probably jumping the gun a little bit. But you know, he's my dad. I don't get to tell him what to do. He tells me what's going on, so I just accept it. I think he'll be just fine. He could probably spend another day not doing anything, but that's not going to happen. So maybe let's get some ones up for Matrix Rabbit, for my dad, for anyone else out there that's feeling under the weather or just needs a little extra help or love today. I'm sending you some love too, Jake. Happy Saturday, bro. I don't know what you're up to, but after my show, I'll reach out and see what you're doing. Sub Rosa says somatics includes the science of using tones to arrange particles of sand into geometric shapes. I've seen this. This is pretty wild. I'm curious about the implications of music and how it might rearrange the mind. I think that this is 100%. I think that your brain is probably a lot denser than sand, right? So it's not going to have the exact same effect, but like frequencies affect matter, right? On a molecular level. This has been proven. So I would have to say, that there's most likely some truth to the relationship here. Also, I think there's been experiments done with music and pets, and like music and ice. Also, like angry people, like yelling and shouting and screaming while ice is forming, versus like happy frequencies and like, you know, nice things, telling the ice that you love it. There's an experiment that was done with that where it was wildly different how the ice turned out. The angry ice looked angry, which, well, maybe I could pull up a picture of this. I was doing some research on this the other day. I typed in angry ice and I got a bunch of cartoons. Ice frequency change. I'm trying to low budget this one. I'll have to come back. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time looking for it right now. This is like legit science about 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 the seasons. That's not what we're looking for. Okay. Well, yeah, Rolling Stone, but not only Rolling Stone says you're talking about the effect of our consciousness on our environment. Very interesting stuff. Also, the effect of the environment on our consciousness, right? I talk about this a lot. It's very important what you allow into your space, right? The people, the things, even the sounds, right? The words that we let out of our mouths. The company that we keep is very, very important, and that's not just people, right? What's going on in my bubble is playing a part in how I perceive the world. We talked about this a lot recently. I They say 90% of our thoughts are subconscious. They also say that our thoughts and our words make up our reality. And what I mean by reality when I say that is like how I perceive the world, right? On a day where I'm really angry or really grumpy or really depressed, the world is going to look a lot different to my eyes than on a day like today where I wake up feeling great, right? Get the shower, get the coffee, get the breakfast, the world at my fingertips, right? The world looks wildly different, but it's literally exactly the same. I'm the difference, right? This is what we're talking about. Um, what was the point of that? That perspective shift is caused by a number of things, right? One of the things that we have control over is what we say and the 10% of our thoughts that are conscious, right? If those two things serve to form my reality, that 10%, that very small amount that I do have control over, becomes very important, right? If 90% of what's going on inside my head is not under my control, that's what subconscious means, right? It's under the level of consciousness. That 10% becomes vastly more important to pay attention to, and like I'll allow myself to experience certain things, especially if I want to be happy, right? If I want to be happy and successful, I need to probably put happy and successful things in my sphere, right? And you don't need to hang out with a bunch of happy, successful people, but you probably need to not hang out with negative, people that take other people's inventory, people that aren't focused on bettering themselves. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying, right? It's probably more important to sweep the bad stuff out of your space than to like bring good things in. Good things will come. The law of attraction, right? Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Just worry about, keeping it clean, getting your stuff together, doing novel things, right? What can I do brand new? Jason P, you are the man. Got to show some support. It's it's about it that time. It's about that time. Thank you for always making our days brighter, Cap. Some of the best money spent. You are the man, Jason. It's at my absolute pleasure. My days would be lesser without this, so it is my pleasure to do so. Thank you for your never-ending support, dude. If whenever the day finally comes when I log in and you're not in the chat, I'm gonna be a little sad, bro. But luckily, that day hasn't come yet. I no, you embolden me when I see your name here. I'm like, oh yeah, it's another day at the boat. Your YouTube algorithm is also very much like the company you keep. Interesting parallels here, Sub Rosa. My YouTube feed is, what's the right word? Uh, Blisteringly irritating lately. I wonder if I can retrain it because it is showing me a bunch of stuff I don't want to watch. Alana Kavanaugh, thank you so much. I've noticed that when the super stickers are put up, if I just have StreamYard open, which is what I'm streaming with, excuse me, I can't see the sticker. So I started pulling up the chat pop out over here so I can see your cute little it's a pair with a headband thanking me. Super cute. When I am on the other side of the screen and I'm just a viewer on YouTube, I don't even know how to do that stuff. You guys put up the coolest little stickers sometimes, I have to say. Flick Fox, what's going on? Good to see you. I listen to music I like in the form of binaural beats. Calms my racing mind. They say ADHD brains like it. Non-ADHD brains can find it annoying and can make them feel motion sick. I tested this theory. Interesting. Binaural. What the heck is that? Binaural beats. Sensation created when two tones of slightly different frequencies are played in opposite ears. I feel like this would drive me nuts. My ears are very sensitive. Have you guys seen that movie Something About Mary? Sometimes I feel like Mary's little brother. You know, the one that had the thing about his ears? And it's not like that bad, but when I get certain sounds, it's like nails on a chalkboard. But it's not to like other people, but like certain noises, like mouth noises, drive me absolutely insane. Yeah, like I can't share a meal with someone that doesn't chew with their mouth closed. Like I just literally can't be in the room. I have to leave. And maybe that's a little bit of a self-control thing. I don't know, but and like things getting in my ears, like when there's water in my ears, I have a whole thing about my ears, and I feel like two slightly different frequencies would kill me. I have had headphones that will get slightly out of sync. So they're playing the exact same thing, but like a split second different. And that will drive me absolutely nuts. So I wonder. I'm going to have to check these binaural beats out. Thanks for sharing. Well, I'm glad you found us, Alana. But it feels so good, says Flick. Interesting. I imagine it's releasing endorphins. What's one of your favorite frequencies, Kristen and Flick, with the binaural beats? And Millie. I'm a bit fussy on which ones, though. I'm pretty fussy. I could get on the fuss train for sure. Kellyanne says, "Be the change you want in the world. Best way to express it. Like attracts like in the human experience." Millie, are you saying mouth breathing is one of your favorites, or that's one of the things that drives you up the wall? Let's be clear here. I don't want to get confused. I don't think I'm going to listen to the mouth breathing one if that's one of them. Well, thank you, Kristen. I will appreciate that. Kristen says there's a particular one on YouTube I like to listen to when I have to focus really hard on a project. That is something I need. Sometimes my music of choice, isn't very focusing. It's distracting. Okay, murder worthy. Okay, I was thinking, I was like, I thought I knew you, Millie, and now I'm not so sure. But no. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the mouth breathing is murder worthy for sure. I'm not into it. I will appreciate that, Millie. Thank you. The heartbeat of those I love. Aw, aw. I should message Autumn today and tell her I'm thinking of her. She would probably appreciate that. Lester Crochet also says, Captain, Captain, they also say those with autism have very sensitive ears. My daughter, who is autistic, sometimes people's voices. She just couldn't handle it. It would actually physically hurt her ears. Interesting. This is how I feel sometimes. This is 100% how I feel sometimes. I'm pretty sure I have some Moldavite hanging around somewhere, Sub Rosa. I can't remember. Isn't Moldavite the one that looks like bubbly and molten? It's like shiny? I might be wrong. Vita says, Spanx, next week a new book of the Witcher series will be released here. I don't know when it will be translated into English, but maybe they make it before Christmas. Well, heck yeah. I tell you what, I tried to get into reading those books. Um, and it was after watching the series, which I think I can't remember how many seasons there are, but the first bit of it was really good. Um, and the last bit of it, I was like, I don't know. But I tried to get into the books, right? And I can't remember if I bought them or got them from the library or what the deal was. Maybe I looked them up on the internet and tried to get an excerpt or something. But I remember thinking to myself, this is exactly like the show. And I didn't get very deep, so I can't judge it too harshly. But I remember thinking that and it like being not exciting, which was a very strange thing. Usually the book is like way better than the show. And I feel like, and again, I only read a very small amount of this book, and I kind of skimmed through to like also find like maybe it's going to tell stories that weren't in the show. I couldn't find any. So maybe I'll have to give it a second try. If they're coming out with new ones, that's probably the way to go, especially if the series is going to continue in the direction it's going. I probably want to get into the books and get out of the show. So interesting. Very, very interesting. I enjoy regional regional fantasy. What am I trying to say? I enjoy lore from like different cultures. That's what I'm trying to say. And I feel like a lot of the Witcher stuff is regional stuff that I'm not very familiar with, like the bad guys, right? The what are they called? Monsters? I forget. It's been a while. But a lot of the stuff that goes on in that book, I feel like is based on mythology that I'm unfamiliar with, and I think that stuff is way cool. I'm super into stuff like that. Um, so that being said, I'm pretty into The Witcher, so that's good to know they're coming out with new books. If George R. R. Martin could just release The Winds of Winter, and it's hard for me to say quit having so much fun doing other things when like that's literally what I think life is about, right? Serving your soul, being happy, finding joy, creating, which is exactly what the man's doing. But I mean, he kind of did say he was going to do these other things that he's now not doing, right? That bothers me. Integrity's big for me. Loyalty's big for me. It's hard for me to deal with betrayal. And I don't know why George R. R. Martin made me think of betrayal, but I guess I kind of feel betrayed. I know it's never coming out, Rolling Stone, but I still get to complain about it. I'm going to complain, complain, complain. And I'm going to imagine it. I've never read Terry Pratchett, Alana. I have never read that. Did you ever see the South Park episode, The Dragons Are Coming? They're Coming? Was that the one where was it was is there more than one George R. R. Martin episode? Because I've seen the one. I've seen the one where everything has a big watch. And they use like, the best mode of transportation, horses. You know why they're the best, right? Because they have giant watches. I think it was the Black Friday episode. Excuse me. I have seen that one. I totally have seen that one because they're like defending the mall. Super crazy. I haven't watched South Park in a while. Vita says it's Slavic mythology. The author is Polish. The new book should be about Gerard's young years as he started to learn the witchcraft. Interesting. It's always a good idea to expound upon the character development by rewinding to the beginning, in my opinion. In my opinion, I know we've kind of gotten away from novel concepts, but that's okay. Do you guys know? So do you have the PO box address, Alana? Subrosa says Alan Moore has a good new book. It's an illustrated book of occult and hermetic magic. Interesting. I've always wondered what that word hermetic means. It's thrown around a lot these days, especially in the hippie community. I always call it the hippie community, but that's not really doing it justice. That's just what I call it. I do like fantasy and clever humor. In fact, most of the books that I read are fantasy or sci-fi. I have a stack over here of interesting books. I've got the big book of AA, got Return from the Stars, which is going to be my next read. I haven't started it yet. The Complete I Ching. We went over this the other day. These are a bunch of my favorite books, which is like a spiritual, it's one of the oldest texts known to man translated, debatably. Stephen King, some Star Wars, and some George R. R. Martin, and some Tolkien. Got some Tolkien over here. This stack is still here. I need to clean my desk, guys. Don't judge me. And the order they were in was good for stacking purposes. So we're just going to go ahead and reverse that. I'm going to go ahead and throw the golf cart in reverse. Rolling Stone says, I'm reading Imminent about the CIA cover-up of UFOs. What was the purpose of covering it up? Does it talk about that at all? Why was it covered up? Was it deemed like the people aren't like ready to know or something like that? Some stupid stuff. It's like, 50% of our population gives birth to humans, right? Like another human comes out of them. I think we can deal with aliens. We deal with some pretty crazy stuff. I don't think that I don't think that UFOs are really gonna tip the boat, all the way, so to speak. Hermetic refers to Hermes, Thoth, and Mercury, like the Emerald Tablet of Thoth. I've done a little bit of research into Thoth as well, Sub Rosa. Interesting. Interesting. I think life is about being, says Kellyanne, living your authentic self reality in this world. Each person is a golden thread of a different color in a living tapestry, creating a beautiful work of art. I love your concepts and your words, Kellyanne, I have to say. You really have a way of putting things together. Beat is funny. Okay, silly question. Why do UFOs only visit the USA? Rude. I don't know. I feel like that can't be the case. Those are just the UFOs that I hear about because it's where I live, I think. This stream has taken a turn, an unexpected turn. I knew in my heart that y'all were my people, though. We just don't ever talk about stuff like this. I get a little anxious when we talk about stuff like this because I feel like my initial reaction to a lot of things that are unfamiliar to me is I'm good. I think a lot of people have that reaction too. I don't think it's just me. So I get that might be the source of my anxiety. I don't want to drive people away, but I am excited and stoked that we are having this conversation. Um, and maybe when Calhoun's Corner finally rolls out, we can have conversations like this without me feeling that way because I won't need like the whole purpose of the boat is to bring people together and connect them and like I need to care about whether I'm driving people away or not. In Calhoun's Corner, we won't have to worry about that, so we can literally do whatever we want. So maybe that's something to look forward to. Get me going. I'm just reading what you guys have to say. Lots of stuff. Yeah, Flick might be onto something here because aliens would best fit in with the crazies in America. I mean, if you were trying to blend in somewhere where you absolutely didn't belong, right? Um, I think we have. I wonder if there would be a way to measure it, but I feel like we have the most oblivious population on the planet. And I could be wrong. I've never left the country, right? So, very uneducated as far as that subject goes, right? But I think that we do have high level of oblivious. We have a high level of not paying attention in this country for sure. And also for those of you that are new, I have a Facebook Messenger. I don't know if you're on the the Lifeboat Facebook or the Lifeboat Discord. We have links for those in the description of the video, as well as the description of the channel, as well as like other resources and whatnot. I highly encourage you, if you're new, to get involved, right? This whole thing's about connecting, making friends, falling down, getting up, all of this stuff together, right? And also, what was the point of me saying that? We were just talking about something that my brain today is just not doing it, guys. Son of a gun. Oh, you can message me, like personally. So my phone will like make a sound and then we can have a conversation. So if you do need to get a hold of me, I would highly recommend getting in there on the Facebook so that we can do so. Kristen Melinda says, I agree on U.S. citizens being a tad more oblivious. I love it here, don't get me wrong, but we seem to get distracted easily. And I don't know what that's about. It might be like a long-term side effect of capitalism. I'm not entirely sure, because like the way that the money system in this country works is I make what I make. You know what I mean? If I don't make anything, I don't make anything. So I think that we're incentivized living in this country to focus on what I can get, right? What I can do, what I can, right? It's very inner focused, very self-centered focus, because that's how you succeed in this country, right? So I think that that bleeds out into all aspects of our society, and over time it matures, right? Like wine, like grapes turning into wine kind of thing, right? Capitalism has a lot of side effects. A lot of things happen indirectly because of the way that our system works. And I'm not saying I'm against capitalism. I'm just saying objectively that I think that it has a large effect on many, many things, right? Maybe we're so oblivious because we're so focused on what I need to do, what I need to get, what I don't have, right? What I want to have. I think that our society here in the States is very, very geared on what I have and what I don't have. Sub Rosa says, I joined the Facebook group. Heck yeah, on Facebook. I may change my name soon because this isn't very becoming of the boat's captain, but right now my name is this on Facebook. Dream Walker. They wouldn't let me spell dream properly. They said, that's not a real name. And I said, okay, how about this? And they thought this was a real name, so. It's unfortunate, but it's what I've got. Flick Fox says, if I was an alien and wanted to blend in, I'd just go to the Vegas Strip. Everyone is just going to assume it's an awesome costume or Comic-Con. 100%, right? I feel like there was a movie where something like this happened. It might have been Men in Black. I can't remember. But they were blending in. Alana says, I also think you're a vast continent. This is true. We're pretty big. That's why if aliens are visiting this world, we are packed in close in the UK. Interesting. 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 Maybe you guys are just smarter than we are. I don't know. You would love Vancouver, Spanx. What brought this up, Robin? I'm sure that I would. I would love to leave the United States. And not necessarily permanently. Although this morning, the first video that I pulled up on YouTube was something about Americans living in Japan. It's better here, or something like that. And you know, I don't know if I buy it, but the arguments they were making seemed realistic. Dale Cox says, I think we need to go to the barter system and do away with money. I think that if we did this, things would slow down in a huge way, which I'm not saying is good or bad. I'm just objectively, a barter system takes more time, right? You can't trade stocks with barter, right? I think that a lot of things would change if this was the case. And this is similar to what happens at Burning Man. At Burning Man, the system that they don't use money at all. They use a system of gifting. And the way it works is you give people gifts out of the goodness of your heart, right? That's part of the culture of Burning Man, is giving people gifts. And you don't ever, give a gift expecting something in return. That's not how it works, right? If you give someone a gift and they don't give you anything back except thanks, That's perfect, right? Giving the gift is about giving the gift. It's not about a transaction. It's about love, right? Um, and I don't know if gifting would be a good system to have like in a large scale over a long period of time, but it's pretty cool at Burning Man. We do survive in the desert for like a whole week, and not just the desert, but like the most inhospitable desert I can think of. I've never been to the Sahara, but I mean, the Black Rock Desert's no joke. And I don't know if it would work over a long period of time, but it 100% works for a week, 100%. And there are people that don't do it very well, right? There are people that show up and don't have what they need, and they end up getting taken care of, right? Because of the way it works, because of the gifting system. I don't know if that would work on a large scale, but it is a cool concept. Dream isn't a real name, asks Flick. Gwyneth Paltrow's daughter, Apple, must have had a real issue getting a Facebook account. I bet. That's funny. Didn't Michael Jackson name his son Blanket? There are some names out there. I mean, names are just things that we've created. So we've taken a huge trip away from novel concepts, but that's okay. We're about at the end of our time, anyways. I thank you all for joining me this morning. Please hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It makes a huge difference for us. My dad, the Admiral, will be coming on later on today, hitting you with some knowledge. And oh, that reminds me, I should have done the announcements at the beginning, but you 20 something people that are still here are going to get the announcements. Painting, I have missed a few painting days. We're going to slightly adjust the schedule so that this doesn't happen in the future. And also, we will be painting today. What's today? Saturday? So we're going to be doing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays instead of Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We're going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? The odd days of the week. And probably a weekend day as well. I'm not going to commit to a weekend day, but you know, I get itchy. I want to paint. So we're going to paint today because I haven't painted in like 4 days or something like that. But moving forward, we'll be doing the art thing at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm looking up because I'm searching the archives of my brain for information. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe a weekend day. All right. That's what we're going to do there. Also, we've talked a little bit about me rolling out my own little thing. I want to talk to my dad about it, get some ideas, and make sure we're on the same page. But I might start doing painting on my own channel. It might be better that way. I want to discuss that with my dad. I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but that might be a switch that we do here soon. I will always be doing the morning boat. You don't ever have to worry about that. All right. But we might move the painting to my channel. That being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love each and every one of you. You guys are the best. Mods, the crew, new folks, old folks, all of you. You guys make me better. And yeah. I'm going to read some of these messages before I get out of here, I guess. I'm missing a lot. Lots of exciting things going on here. Vancouver is beautiful, tolerant, blended, and fabulous. I mean, that just sounds amazing right there. You do have a way of making it sound amazing, Robin. Mother Bird, y'all say a prayer for me. Down at my house where my husband died, about to battle his daughter and 2 attorneys who want to take our community property without his will being probated. Oh my. Family drama. I don't know if you're still here, Mother Bird, but whoever is still here, let's put some ones up for Mother Bird. I didn't read that until just now, and that is tragic. I'm rooting for you. I'm pulling for you, and you got this. You got this. Good things happen to good people. I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry you're going through this, but you will get through it. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining me. Wow, that one went by so quick. We should do this more often. All right. Captain Calhoun, this has been the Lifeboat. Be good to yourself.